My parents threw me out as a teen for causing drama, then showered my brother with cars and cash. When they lost everything and turned to me, I sent them his way and cut contact for good. I was 18 when they told me to pack my things. It wasn't a dramatic blowout. No shouting. No plates breaking. No tears. Just my mother standing in the doorway of my bedroom, arms crossed, while my father leaned against the hallway wall behind her, staring at the floor like it was easier than looking me in the eye. "You can't stay here anymore," she said, like she was announcing the weather. My clothes were in piles from doing laundry. My laptop was still open. I had a college application halfway filled out on the screen. "What are you talking about?" I asked. She exhaled through her nose, that long, disappointed kind of breath I'd gotten used to over the years. "You've made this house impossible. The tension, the attitude, the way you talk to your brother. It's constant drama." I blinked. "Drama? You always have something to say. You don't respect anyone. You walk around like you're owed something. We can't do this anymore." Behind her, my dad nodded slightly, still not looking at me. That was the part that stayed with me the longest, that he never even raised his head. An hour later, I was in the driveway with a backpack and a duffel bag, watching the garage door slide shut like a period at the end of a sentence. No hug. No "stay safe." Just my mother saying, "Maybe this is what you need." A wake-up call. I didn't respond. I didn't cry. I just walked. I stayed on a friend's couch the first week. Then another. Then a third. Each one came with its own silent countdown. How long until I became a burden? I picked up a job at a pizza place. Started doing weekend shifts at a warehouse. Ate a lot of $1 gas station meals. Told myself it was temporary. But every time I checked my phone, hoping for a message from them, nothing. They'd erased me clean. Meanwhile, my brother turned 17 that summer. He got a car for his birthday, brand new. Posted photos on Instagram with the caption, "Hard work pays off." The comments were full of fire emojis and, "You deserve it, bro." My mother shared the post on Facebook. "So proud of our boy. Such a blessing to have a son who's focused, grounded, and responsible." She didn't tag me. Of course she didn't. I hadn't spoken to him since I left. Not that we were close before. He was the golden boy. Quarterback. Easy smile. Always knew how to say the right thing in front of our parents. I was too intense. Too sensitive. I asked too many questions. I didn't laugh at the right jokes. At some point, they just stopped trying to understand me. And I stopped trying to be seen. 3 months after they kicked me out, I saw my brother at a gas station. He was filling up his car, the same one they'd posted about. Sunglasses on, music up. I was walking to the bus stop. We made eye contact. He gave me a quick chin nod. No smile. No hey. Just a nod like I was some guy he used to know. And then he got back in the car and drove off. That night, I slept on the floor of the pizza shop storage room. We weren't technically allowed, but the assistant manager turned a blind eye. I remember lying there, my hoodie balled up under my head, staring at the ceiling and thinking, so this is what family is. Silence, distance, and a nod if they can't avoid you. By the time I turned 19, I had my own room in a shared house with 3 other people. It wasn't much. Walls thin as paper, neighbors who fought at 3 a.m., no AC. But it had a lock on the door, and that was more than I'd had in months. I stopped checking their Facebook. Stopped hoping for texts. Stopped imagining some apology would come. Because deep down I already knew I was never going to be the son they missed. I stopped being angry sometime in my early 20s. Not because I forgave them, I didn't. And not because it stopped hurting, it didn't. But I realized carrying that weight around every day was like drinking something toxic and hoping they'd feel it. So I shifted focus. I worked. A lot. Pizza place by day. Warehouse at night. Back to back to back. I'd sleep in 4-hour shifts, skip weekends, take doubles. I didn't go out much. Didn't party. Didn't have time to find myself. I was too busy surviving. But slowly, piece by piece, I started building something out of the wreckage they left me in. I saved for months to get my own studio. It was small. No windows. Radiator that clanked like a haunted pipe organ. But it was mine. I signed the lease, bought a second-hand mattress off Craigslist, and when I lay down that first night, I cried for the first time since they kicked me out. Not because I was sad. Because I'd done something alone that they never thought I could. Meanwhile, my brother was becoming an influencer. Car photos, gym mirror selfies, luxury hotel pool shots. Always with the same tone in the captions. Grind never stops. Winners work in silence. Some people just don't get it. Our mom reposted every single one. So proud of our baby. Living his dream. They helped him launch a clothing brand. Funded his move to LA for a year. Bought him a second car when he said the first didn't feel right. I found out through social media. People love to say they'll realize what they did when you succeed. They don't. My parents never reached out. Not when I got promoted. Not when I got into night school. Not when I finally paid off my debt. Silence. But they never missed a single post about my brother's birthday or grind milestones. By the time I hit 25, I had a good job in IT. Decent pay. Health insurance. A car that didn't rattle on the freeway. I had a one-bedroom apartment with a view of a parking lot. A pantry that stayed full. And peace. Most days I was okay. Some nights I'd scroll their pages not because I wanted back in, but because a part of me still couldn't believe they were so proud of someone who had never been left behind. Then one evening, out of nowhere, I got the text. From my mom. Hi honey. I know it's been a long time. We're going through something difficult. Is there any chance we could stay with you for a little while? My chest locked up. It had been nearly 8 years. 8 years of being ignored. Of being erased. Of watching my brother get everything I begged for. Now she called me honey? I didn't answer. I reread the message 5 times. My hands trembled. It wasn't anger this time. It was something colder. Something heavier. The kind of silence that builds up when you've been holding the door open for years and now someone knocks like they didn't choose to walk past you every time. 2 days later, another message came. From my dad. We're not looking for charity. Just a roof for a while. We know we made mistakes. That part made me laugh out loud. Not because it was funny. Because it was lazy. We made mistakes. Like they forgot my entire existence. Like they hadn't funded someone else's dream while I starved. I didn't cry. I didn't reply. I just sat on the floor of my quiet apartment staring at the texts and realized. They didn't reach out because they missed me. They reached out because they lost him. I sat with their messages for a full week before responding. Didn't delete them. Didn't reply. Just kept them there, open, visible, glowing from my screen like a ghost I didn't invite. At 26, I lived in a different world than the kid they'd kicked out 8 years ago. I had a job I liked. A condo with a mortgage in my own name. A calm life, built from the floor up. No noise. No drama. No one telling me I was too much. They didn't know their version of me. And I wasn't about to hand it over. On the 8th day, I opened a blank message. Typed, if you need a place to stay, you can reach out to my brother's name. I hear he's doing well. I paused, then added. I'm not available. No greeting. No closing. Just facts. I hit send. Then blocked both numbers. No second draft. No warning. Just done. For the first time in years, I sat back and felt quiet. Not relief. Not revenge. Just quiet. The kind that comes when a door doesn't slam, it just clicks shut for good. They tried, of course. New numbers. Email. Even a letter. My name written in my mom's handwriting on the envelope like it was still a holiday card. Inside. 2 pages. All past tense. We know we made mistakes. We thought we were doing what was best. We miss you. At the bottom, she wrote. I hope someday you'll forgive us. I read it twice. Then folded it back up. Slid it into the drawer under my sink. With the expired coupons and the half-dead batteries. That's all. It was now something I didn't need, taking up space. A few days later, my brother messaged me. So, they showed up. No hello. No explanation. I stared at the screen. Then, they didn't say much. Just that they tried. Another pause. I told them I couldn't help. And for the first time in forever, I smiled when I read his name. Not because we were brothers again, but because the story had finally flipped. They went to him, the golden child, and he couldn't carry them either. I didn't reply. He didn't write again. And just like that, the whole thing ended without a single apology spoken out loud. I still think about the moment I hit send. Not because it was hard. Because it was final. It wasn't a punch. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't some epic monologue. It was 5 words. I'm not available. No one talks about how quiet it feels to take your power back. It doesn't feel like victory. It feels like standing in your own living room. And realizing every inch of it is yours. They taught me how to disappear. I just made it permanent. It's been 2 years since I sent that message. I'm not available. 5 words. That was it. No yelling. No demands. No unraveling childhood trauma in a desperate voice. Just a sentence. And silence after. They didn't try again. At least not directly. I heard through a cousin that they'd ended up in a motel for a while. That the money ran out faster than they expected. That they blamed the economy, bad luck, everyone but themselves. I didn't ask for more details. I didn't need them. I was done writing myself into a story where my character only existed as the problem. People don't always get a big turning point. Sometimes, the moment your life changes forever looks like you making breakfast in a quiet apartment, realizing no one has the right to show up uninvited physically or emotionally. Sometimes peace is toast and coffee and a clean sink. My therapist once asked me, "Do you feel like you got closure?" And I told her, "No. I stopped waiting for it. I moved again last year. Not to run. Not to hide. Just because I could. Because I no longer made decisions based on how close or far they were. Because I no longer lived in fear of bumping into their shadows at the grocery store. The new place is smaller. But it feels bigger somehow. More air. More light. Less memory. There are no photos of my childhood in this apartment. No reminders of who they wanted me to be. Just shelves with books I actually love. A couch I picked out for comfort, not approval. And a front door that only opens when I say it does. I've redefined the word family. It's not blood anymore. It's not who raised you, or who paid for what, or who smiled in the old Christmas card. It's who sees you. Who hears you when you whisper. Who stays when you're quiet, not just when you're performing. Some nights I still dream about them. Sometimes I'm back in that hallway the day they told me to leave. Sometimes I'm watching my brother open that car. Sometimes I'm just waiting. But when I wake up now, I don't carry it with me. I let the dream die with the light. I still get asked about them sometimes. At work. In passing. On forms where there's a blank next to emergency contact. And I just leave it blank. Because I learned the hard way you can't fill that space with someone who let you bleed to keep their hands clean. Forgiveness isn't always a conversation. Sometimes it's a boundary you draw and never cross again. Sometimes it's silence that says, "You don't get to come in here anymore." The last time I saw my brother was at a wedding. He was standing at the bar, laughing with someone I didn't know. When he saw me, he froze. We made eye contact. He raised his glass slightly like he didn't know what else to do. I nodded once, then turned and walked outside. Not out of spite. Just peace. I don't need him to say he's sorry. I don't need my parents to understand. Because I finally learned. I don't need to be understood by people who refuse to see me when it counted. These days, my life is quiet. I cook. I read. I go on long walks without headphones. No one yells. No one rearranges my story. And best of all, no one calls me too much. I don't tell many people this part of my life. Not because I'm ashamed. Because I've already lived it once and that's enough. Now I tell new stories. Stories where I'm the narrator. Where I decide what matters. And who stays. Sometimes surviving isn't loud. Sometimes it's just a locked door, a quiet night, and a person finally learning how to breathe without permission. I didn't slam the door. I just never opened it again. And that was the most powerful thing I've ever done.